Hopefully that should just work. I'll use the Zoom recording instead of my other one. So A, okay. A now is like a splitting attack, right?
Yep.
But when black plays,
Oh, why was I thinking black to play? It,
oh yeah, it was white to attack black. Black is the weak group here. Um, but anyway, I'll just answer it. So in the game, Marty played this move to split these two groups up. And in theory, that should be correct. But because once white plays here, black can play this, and then it becomes more capable of making eye
right,
shape. And so the split didn't matter if black can just make eyes. So instead, what we needed to look at was this move.
right.
This move makes it a little harder for black. Admittedly, it still gives him some decent eye shape, right? But it also feels a little bit slow. And if he was just to run away and play the move that white wanted, then white can actually clamp here. Well, first he can even cut here as well, but you can clamp. And then if black tries to stop, obviously white can connect under. If black predicts, won't connect under. And then this also works, right? So
Yep.
every single time this clamp works really well in this area. And then white can still split black up here actively because this white group is very strong. So this split is always here. But yeah, this move is beneficial for both players. It hurts black and it solidifies the corner for white. So that would be the best move out of these ones. Do you get
Okay.
so let's move on to the next one. This is probably one of the most hardest ones. I got Kenshin next on the list. Do you want to try this one, Kenshin? Which
For
one?
black.
Yeah, so it is black's turn. Um, and one of these moves are really bad. Which one is the bad move and why?
Uh,
So if we assess the situation, right, we have a black group, a white group, and another white group. And you can see this group is a little weak, right? It has to run to live. It can't really make too many eyes in this area. So yeah, the question that, this is how we should assess all the boards. Every single problem, we should assess what's weak, what's strong, and then, go through the moves each one at a time.
I feel like C is pretty weak
C is the worst one.
because I feel like C is the worst option because it's white feels pretty strong on the bottom.
Okay. So which do you think's a better move then, A or B?
B I think is stronger because it helps two groups connect, and also it might make the that R9 and S9 live,
Okay.
and it can create space for eyes.
All right. Yeah, let's go through it. So in the game, he's played here. And this felt wrong to me because black is pretty strong here, right? Black can actually live in the corner with just the descend, and black has plenty of room to run out. So this move was backing away from the fight. It didn't feel correct to me. And so this would actually be the worst move, not C. And we'll explain why C is good. But we'll also explain you were right. B is the correct move. So the way it goes, if black plays like this, it's poking out white's eye, right, and making black stronger. If white plays like this, black makes the bamboo shoot, and then white connects under. And now black actually wants to play this move. Now, this move is not going to survive, but the point of it isn't to survive. The point is to make sure that you can get this connection in Sente. So when black cuts here, You should descend. You shouldn't let white kill you in one move. And then black can play. Black doesn't have to play this, but he can. So black should play this first, and then he can either move on or play this directly. Because what happens is if white responds any other way, then white dies. So white is forced to play an empty triangle in a bad shape. And then it allowed black to connect in Sente. So this weakness here can be manipulated twice to give black a really good shape. And then you can continue this attack. And so white has no eyes right now and, is making no points, while black is making a lot of points on this side and has potential of still taking the full corner. So I thought this was a really cool move. I knew it existed, but when I was looking at this game, I thought he should just play here and like this. But of course, the computer, I look over all my reviews with the computer, and this was a really nice combination of moves. So A was the worst move, and then C actually, even though it can't live, it has a lot of uses, right? You can get a lot of presence from sacrificing this stone here.
Michael, if the
And is the bamboo shoot
yeah
livable? Is that
that's my question.
This here? Of course. So we'll go through the variations, right? Oops. And then when we play here, do you feel that these are in danger? If white played this, this is gonna die, right? This can't live. It's not gonna live, right? So these stones are very weak. And then let's say somehow they were able to live, right? Not that they can, but let's say they can. Once black plays here, and then it's fine, right? So these stones are very strong. Even without the bamboo exchange, these stones are still very strong because they can't be killed. They can be manipulated, so that's why the computer wants you to play here. And it was good on you, Kenshin, finding that this is the best move. But yeah, these stones are perfectly fine. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, let's go to the next question. So now we have, since this is, we got Theo. Theo, you okay to answer some questions? You want to try this one?
Yeah, sure. I'll give it a go. So it's
Okay.
white. It's white to move.
Yep. And so we're looking for what's the best move, and then what's the worst move? If you want, answer the worst move first. What's the worst move?
Well, I'm not sure that. I think that A is probably the worst move because
Okay.
it doesn't seem to be the time to be jumping from that wall.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not so confident in that.
Okay. And then what would be the best move out of B and C then?
My gut is telling me that a better player than me would play C, but I want to play B.
Okay.
It's just what I did.
Yep. So in the game, Marty played here. And there's a couple reasons why this is actually bad. One, black can be cut off here. So black just gets cut off. White just gets cut off, and then black makes all the points here.
Okay.
So this is a bad reduction. Two, it feels kind of like a floating move. Essentially, it's a move that really doesn't put much pressure on black and doesn't accomplish you getting a lot of points, right? This is not getting any points. The only reason you'd play this is to reduce this area,
Right.
which it doesn't do, right? Like it doesn't actually do that. So this is actually the worst move. And the best move is actually this one.
Okay, well,
And the reason,
obviously I need this class.
It was
Yeah.
my choice too, so.
Yeah, so and the reason is because this protects a lot of points. So we're looking at like maybe 50 points here, right? Like maybe, in one move. And so this is worth so much. So that's really why this move was, much better, right? And then finally, if we look at C is okay. It creates some bad shape. You don't even have to answer now, and you could then play here. So C is okay. I just put it out there because it looked like a decent move. But yeah, so and you might be wondering, like, maybe black is getting a lot here, which black is, mind you, but white has more, believe it or not. This is just as good as this. And then white has this extra, and white has this really big reduction down here. So this area isn't as big as it looks. And then if black only has this, white's going to win by having this area and this area. So it all depends on, well, a lot of this depends on your judgment and counting. But yeah, if you can build more than your opponent faster, then you're going to win the game, right? You don't have to destroy his stuff if you can already beat him. So that's how this question came to be.
Yeah, actually that's something that goes wrong in my games all the time is I'm so afraid of what my opponent has that I don't focus on what I have.
Yes. And so that this was a great problem for both of you and Marty, right? Is we can work on looking at what we have and counting. I know counting is tedious, but if you have a lot of time in your game, then it's definitely a good skill to use, right? Because if you have more, then once again, you can just play very simply and win, right? Instead of going crazy and then losing, right? So let's go on to the next game. So now we have another, actually, hold on, let me just see. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now we have another game. So let's ask Jory. Jory, looking at this game, let's judge all the groups, right? And figure out what's the best move out of here. So we have White's group here. I'll let you just figure it out, but can you find any weak groups or strong groups that you feel are urgent or good to manipulate for points? That's what you should be thinking, but the real question is just what's the worst move and what's the best move?
I would probably say, well, I guess B and C are both going to be caps. B feels a little bit larger because
sorry, just to remember, yeah, it's White's move here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess like my attention is drawn to B and A, just because like I guess A is securing territory, and like putting a stone in a place that's potentially invadable, and then B is capping black stones while also sort of beginning to build some influence out towards the top.
Okay, so you're looking for the best moves. Which one do you think is better?
I sort of feel like A is better.
Okay. All right. We'll mark this as the best move and then we'll talk about it. What about the worst move? So now we're looking at C and D. Which one's worse?
I would probably say D.
Okay.
It's a poke threatening to separate, but he'll probably fill. And then I guess you don't get, I mean, it's a forcing move, so I guess you could do that and then do another move. You can maybe get that move for free, but it doesn't seem like it's doing a whole lot, or at least it's not securing points. It's maybe even just strengthening black's position.
Okay. So D is actually the best move.
Great.
What?
And C is the worst move. So let's talk about why. So in the game, Marty played here, and this is what I would call a floating move, right? It's not putting any pressure on black. It's not building any moyo. It is trying to help these stones, but these stones are already pretty strong, so you actually don't need to help them right now. And if you were, this would make a better shape. This makes the dog face shape, and it's easier. This one, you can get poked, and like, there's a lot of tomfoolery that can happen here. So this was actually the worst move, and we talked about why. This would be my move. This is what I would have picked if I was playing this game, because as you said, it hurts black and builds white's moyo. So this is always what I'm striving for in all my games, is to do dual purpose moves where they're doing more than two things, or more than one thing, I should say. So in this case, this is doing one thing. It's trying to help white. This is doing two things. And then the computer said that this was the best move. And the reason is because once he connects here, now you can take this. And so you've made him like really heavy, and straight lines don't make eye shape, right? Remember, diagonals make line shape, but straight lines don't make eye shape. So you kind of get the best of both worlds with this type of move. It also helps you strengthen this area a little bit, because right now, black can actually just invade in here. Oops. And be perfectly fine and just connect under. And so this would be really bad for white. So this area is like has a lot of openings, a lot of pinpoints that black can play in. So this helps strength white here. I think I mixed my colors, but I think you understand what I mean, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess for A, what's nice is you put a territory move in, and then if black, say, were to jump out or something to that B move or something, then you could, you still have an opportunity to cap them potentially.
Yeah, and A was the second move. So the computer said here or here.
Yeah, because you get a free movement either way.
Yeah, so A wasn't bad. B was my choice, and then D was the computer's. And then this is what was that?
Can you play out D and then invade with black again?
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then does black play here? If he does, then you can play this. And then if black plays this, then he can play here. And you can almost fix this in Sente. So there's actually quite a lot of things you could do here. So it all depends on what you want to do. There's a lot of weaknesses here. So I don't know. But I will say that this does assist this, even if we played something like this or here first, and then something like this, and then here. So there's a lot of options that this diagonal gives you to help defend against this. If you just play it normally, it looks like black can still connect. But if we go out of the box and start attacking, it actually makes it hard for black here. So
interesting.
Yeah, so this diagonal is hitting a weakness that black should fill, and if black doesn't, then you can start attacking this area. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So now, okay, yeah, so this one is once again, we're looking for the worst move and the best move. I'm gonna ask Bonnie next if you want to try.
Sure. Let's see.
So I usually look for the worst move first, but you can pick any order.
I think worst move is D
Okay.
because it's not accomplishing much. If it's just like closing territories too small, it's better to try to make this bigger.
Yes, that is actually correct. So then which one do you think is the best move?
I know AI likes the 3-3. I will go with AI. That's easy.
Okay. So
I don't know if there's something better in this case. Yeah.
yeah, so this is what happened in the game. Marty played this move and it was another floating move, right? And so this was a consistent problem that we're going to be working on, where he makes these floating moves that, you know, they only accomplish one thing. We're always wanting to strive for 2 or 3 things every move. So I understand that this is a weak group, but you could also play some. So this was the best move in my opinion, because one, it helps strengthen this group because it doesn't have eyes yet. So that's why he played something like this. But this move will put a lot of pressure on white, and whether white hanes or plays here, now you can take this 3-3 while breaking this area up and helping black. So that's why I believe this is a much better move. And then you come back here, of course, to do what you want to do. But yeah, so you were right with the worst move for sure. So good job. Do you guys see that, you know, putting pressure on white here is much more, even if it was like this, right? It was much more beneficial than playing this floating move here.
What about M8?
M8? M8.
Yeah, the
M8.
beginning one. Isn't that the same as T9?
Yeah.
Isn't it also a floating move?
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah.
Okay.
White should have played here, or something like this. So yes, I mean, it also is a floating move.
Okay.
But I was looking at, you know, when I was reviewing the game, I was reviewing it for Marty, just his mistakes, right? But yes, yeah, you could consider this a floating move. Kinda. It's not putting any pressure on black. It's trying to encapsulate territory, but you could also do that in a much bigger way, right? This one's my favorite though, because this group is still weak right now and it puts pressure on black. So now black should feel like it has to answer in some way. And then this allows you to just continue to harass black. And then you can come back and like fix the 3-3. So yeah, you know, if you're asking about this, yes, this was a bad move. White should have played here for sure. All right, let's go to the next one. So now we are here. Okay, let me ask Marty. Now that we've gotten away from your games, Marty, we're looking at this board, and it is black's turn. Where would be the best move, or where would be the worst move? You still with us, Marty?
Yeah. I'm just thinking.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I would choose A or B. Probably B
Okay, as the best move.
as the best move.
What about the worst move?
The worst move. I guess C.
Yes.
Although, yeah.
That's it. I'll just say yes. So right now, you know, black is pretty strong here, right? So he actually doesn't need this move. In the game, Karn played this move. And so he wanted to solidify his area and make sure this was safe. But in reality, he has 1 and 2 and 3 different directions he can go from. So he actually doesn't have to worry about this group right now. And when we have groups that are like safe, then instead of looking for slow moves that protect you, you want to look for moves that are the biggest, right? The most best moves where you can get the most points. B was correct. Both of these moves were fine, but the computer preferred this one out of, you know, all the moves. and it's obviously it's because it's approaching a corner, which in the opening of the game we should be doing, right? A move 23, we should be trying to get to these corners first before anything else. So that was completely correct. So in the game, black played here, and then white took the biggest move. And so now white's already kind of having a good lead. And then black even took another slow move, which allowed white another big move. Now, this wouldn't be my choice. I'd play over here to save this stone. But it was still, you can see that white's direction of play is working much better than black's at this moment. This is just too slow. If you have a strong group, you shouldn't be trying to make it stronger. You should go look for the biggest moves on the board. Okay, so now we will check. I got one more problem on this one. So here's the problem. Let's see. Terry or Aaron, do you guys want to try and answer this? Terry, you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's
Okay.
see.
So
Okay.
what's the worst move? What's the best move, and why?
All right. I would think that A may be the worst move. And I think C might be the best move.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So why is A the worst move?
Well, I figure it's just going for territory. And in these days oh, wait a second. It's
It
yeah.
is black's move. Sorry.
Oh,
I
it's
should have
but wait a
mentioned that.
second.
Yeah.
You know, wait a second. All right, so black's move. Actually, A isn't so bad. Actually, let me say that the worst move is B, and I guess the best move may be A.
Okay. So now this is a lot of my humble opinion. Oh well, I did use the computer too. So A is actually the worst move out of these three, and B is actually the best move out of these three.
Oh, great.
And so when we look at A, in this area, can white make a lot of points?
Maybe not. So
yeah, that's right. White can't make a lot of points here. And so playing a move like this, that's especially so disconnected from all his other groups. This is what, Karn played in the game, and it was actually a really bad result. One, this isn't the right direction. This isn't the most important part of the board. Two, there's no friends for him, so he's just going to get bullied and beaten up. And then while he's getting bullied, he's not making any points, and then white can potentially make quite a lot. In which happened in the game, right? They fought for a while, and then black got beaten up for a while, and then white's getting all this influence, which is helping white everywhere on the board. And black might die. This still isn't alive right now. There's a lot of trouble here. So, that's all I can really say about it. And it's not making black any points, right? Black's making, maybe black will make 2 or 4 points.
right.
So this is the wrong direction of play, and it's not a good move in general. Now the computer wanted black to play here, but this seemed really complicated to me. Like, this doesn't look like black can live, so I wasn't exactly sure just yet why. Now this move was one of the other choices, and I really like this clamp because if white plays up, then black can play down, and then this move has a lot of benefit, right? Because now white can't separate them, not easily anyway. It looks like this, but black can continue to come out, right? And this would be really good for black. So because of this clamp, this clamp connection, this move now looks really good to me. But if white just plays this, well, you can see that black has flattened this really big area that white had. And, you know, now he can play somewhere else. You know, he can play something like this. And, you know, this is a really nice move. But yeah, so that's why this move is bad. And a lot of, you know, double-digit Q players have problems of looking at, you know, your opponent's area and thinking they're really big, and then you just throw a move in there just to stop it, right? And this is a one-purpose move, and it's not a good move, right? And so that's why we want to try and break this habit that everyone has, you know. So yeah, we'll move on to the next question.
Wait a second. Can we look at C for a second, though?
Yeah.
I want to see how that plays out because I wasn't sure whether you could connect underneath or not.
So usually white will connect over the top, but usually black doesn't have a stone that's touching this area. So when it is, you can threaten to come out. Obviously, if white doesn't cut, then you can come out. So white should cut. But then you can Atari here, and when you connect, there's two ways for black to come out. If white plays like this, you can play here. And, you know, does white connect? Does white play something like this? Either way, black's connected under now. And if white plays down, then you can just come out and you're connected as well.
So that counts as a cool move, but not the best move.
Yes, that's right. So the reason this isn't the best move right now is because this area can become really huge with only one move. Once white plays here, this is worth like 30 points, and it can be worth even more, right? Like it can keep going. So this move, you know, once again, the computer said this was the best, but I couldn't find the justification for it until I found this move, which combines with, you know, this one. But yeah, so the idea is that in one turn, white can make like 30 points. So this would be devastating for black, right? In this move, you might not even consider it Tente. You might just give up these two stones and then play here. But when you play this combination, you know, this is very Sente, right? White's going to have to answer every single one of these moves, and then you can take it. So you can get both. You can get your cake, and then you can eat it too, right? So that's why I really like this move.
I've got one more question about the winning move there. Is there a trick to knowing when to look for a clamp versus just a hane? Because I always have trouble seeing when clamps are going to work.
So
or is it just you have to practice reading?
The clamps, even at my level, are still like, I don't use them all the time. I started thinking about them when I started thinking about this, right? If black just pushes here, then white's going to play here. And so we know where white's going to play, and this is very beneficial for white. White's getting one more line of territory that I don't want him to get. So instead of pushing from behind and then allowing this to happen, I read out the move. What if I play where I know he wants to play, right? And as long as there's a weakness that you can push down on, then the clamp works. It just works. And even if like we just played this way and allowed white to take the two stones, you can see black got a really nice driving force by separating white here. So this clamp just works no matter what way white answers, either this or this. So if you're looking for more clamps, what you should do first is ask yourself, is this good enough for you? And the answer, you know, should be no, right? This is giving too much to white. So then you have to read if white plays here, here, or here. And if you can take benefit from any of these moves, then you should, right? Then the clamp works. That's all I can really say about it. But yeah, try practicing reading this more. and see if like this move will help. Because if it is, if this cut, when you push down and this cut is a big threat, which it is, right? These stones are starting to die. Then he's gonna have to answer, and this allows you to take the next move. Does that help?
That helps a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. So now we'll go to this one. And Aaron, do you want to answer a question, or should I start over?
Yeah, I'll answer.
Okay. So let's take a look at this. Yeah, what's the worst move and what's the best move? It's Black's turn.
Already, I feel like C is the worst move. C or A.
Okay. So you believe B is the best move then, right?
I guess I haven't thought about why B is the best move, but it would make, you know, by default.
Okay. When why is C and A bad?
I feel like, well, giving it extra thought, I feel like C is actually not that bad. White would answer, and then Black would be able to make a base.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive move at A feels good, but I don't know. I feel like you could make that up, and it's not making as many points as B or C.
Okay, so you think A is the worst move, and either B or C is the best move, then, right?
I don't know.
All right. Well, do you?
Flip a
Yeah,
coin.
yeah. Pick one, and then we'll find out.
All right. A worst move, B best move. Final answer.
All right. So in the game, Karn played B. So you guys are on the same page. But this is actually the worst move.
No.
Because when White plays here, you can see White is not going to have any trouble living, and he broke up all this area. So let's look at this, right? I mean, how big is this area? This is huge, right? Even if White takes this, this is still very, very... Who's getting more here, right?
Black is, certainly.
Yeah, for sure. And you love big moyos. I'm really shocked you didn't go for the big moyo. But yeah, so this move, you know, at least is like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 points. And potentially in credit, it's worth like, you know, 40, 60, something like that. You know, it's worth a lot. And so I understand that you don't want to lose Sente, right? Like, who wants to lose Sente? But this is big. This is really big. And even then, maybe you could play something like this if you really wanted to cramp White up here. Because if he cuts, this is still a ladder that works for you. And then if he plays like this, you can stop him. It's a big reduction, but you can still stop him, right? So it's still really nice for Black here. So technically you don't have to save this. I would, out of maybe more habit than anything. Because sometimes, you know, White can clamp here. And then if you were to play this, obviously he's out. And then if you play here, well, now we can use that technique about the clamp we learned. This cut is very dangerous. So Black has to connect, and then White can make a 2-space base. So, you know, this is how the clamp works. But anyway, so this is why I would defend here. But this is still really good. The idea is Black is making more than White. And so it's much better to block this side than it would be to play over here. Because once White plays here, now you just look like a fool. And that's an unfortunate truth. Does that make sense? Do you guys see this?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because this particular diagram almost felt like a trick diagram to me, because my instinct would be to block. And I thought to myself, okay, that seems obvious to me. This has to be a trick. It's got to be something else.
Yeah, it's true. And I'm glad that I do a lot of reviews over the week, because one, I get all these examples, and two, these seem to be problems that you guys are all suffering at the same level, right? So it's really good lessons. And I thank everybody who takes lessons under me, so I really appreciate it. But anyway, so yeah, this happened. And now we have a second problem here. And I think we can go back to the top. So we can ask Ryan if he's still here. Ryan, you still
I
here?
am. I
All right.
am.
All right, Ryan. So let's take a look here. We have 3 moves. And we want to find the worst move, and then we want to find the best move. And we want reasonings why you think it's the worst move and best move.
I really don't like C because it seems like an invasion that may be ill-timed.
Okay.
I think black could live in the corner with B, but at this point I feel better about A.
Okay.
I've got a 2-space wall there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really see a strong answer to it, except maybe a 2-space separation. So I think this isn't a bad time to use A.
Okay. So C worst move, A best move.
Right.
All right. Well, you got it wrong.
Probably.
So in the game, black played here. But what should you do with each move? You should try and strive to do 2 things, right? Is this doing 2 things?
No, really, it's only expanding territory.
And very small, right? Like this isn't a lot, right? Like I would argue that this would be much better than because it's putting more pressure on white. This would have probably been my second choice. But my first choice 100% is B here, because B takes away the corner from white. You guys can share it, but that means that you took it away from him, right? Now you're sharing
Right.
it. And then so this would be the best move, because it
Okay.
affects white's life and death, and it helps you create more life for yourself.
Okay.
C actually isn't that bad, believe it or not. The computer had this as one of the choices. This was its first choice. This was its second choice. This was my choice. And the reason C isn't bad is because no matter what white does here, you could potentially get some type of base. If white pincers in any form, right? Black actually can just take the corner or play under, or even jump out, though I wouldn't advise the jump out. So that's really it. I mean, this actually has a lot of flexibility. Normally, I tell people not to play between 2 groups like this, but because this is so far away, then it actually doesn't matter what white does here. Black's always going to be able to make some type of base, which breaks up this area. So this is a good move too.
Okay.
But this is the ideal one. And this is the worst one because 1, it's too small. 2, it's just doing one thing. And yeah, it's just not the correct move. So
I guess my question here though is, I sometimes don't like to play approach moves anymore. I would go directly into the 3-3 rather than C. I would say I'd go right into the 3-3 point and let white decide which side he wants to keep.
Yeah, I understand the computer loves the 3-3, and so it's teaching new students to just jump in the 3-3 often, and sometimes that's correct. But I think in this case, because white can get Sente,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I feel like so white's building a really big Moyo here, and it has become very strong. So now if black puts any invasion in here, white's gonna be able to beat it up, right? It's gonna push him into this thickness and just beat him up. Actually, white has thickness on both sides, so it really doesn't matter what black tries to do here, right?
Sure.
And then white's also flattening black and then making this wall look stupid. So black has a wall here, and now he can't build here because this stone's here. So the 3-3 wouldn't be a good idea in this case.
Okay.
But yeah.
B looks better then. You bet.
Okay. So now we kind of ran out of the problems, and I just wanted to show you guys that even though we've gone through a lot of these, and a lot of the issues were floating moves, right? Like we were talking about this being a floating move, and this being a floating move, and this being a floating move. So a lot of these moves are like moves that are only doing one thing, and they're not really benefiting or playing optimally for you. So but even myself, I feel like I make some floating moves sometimes. This was a game I played just yesterday, I think, against the Tudon, and well, I wanted to break up this area because I was playing so well, right? Like I had a nice corner here, a nice corner here, this one shared but really nice, you know, and then I had a corner here. So like all I needed to do was make sure white didn't make a lot of points in the middle here. So I played a floating move, but I don't think this was right, and I didn't look at the game, so I put it in AI Sensei, and I just wanted to check to see what the better moves would be. But I know my point of bringing this game up is just that, you know, even at my level, sometimes I make floating moves. You know, so let's see how bad it is, and you know, let's see what the best move would have been. So it was move 113. Oh, well, never mind. Apparently, you know, I was off the mark by 1, but apparently it was okay, I guess. All right, cool. Good to know. So I guess that was a bad example, but just understand that all these other ones are bad. Don't question me. Okay.
Yeah, don't talk back to Sensei, huh?
Yeah. All right. Well, I was off the mark, right? I could have took more. And I guess you could argue this isn't too much of a floating move because it starts activating this stone. And let's say if, you know, white played something bad and black activated this stone. Well, now these stones don't have 2 eyes yet, and so they're in trouble. So that's why pushing one more, I guess, would have been correct. My thought was, you know, somewhat similar, that I could, you know, push in here and activate this stone, but clearly this would have been better. So, okay.
What about L5 to threaten the connects?
L5, L5 down here. L5 here.
Yep.
This one.
To threaten L4.
What you think he'll play here?
Yeah.
Instead, he can counterattack. So black can't play here, right? So black would have to play here. And then white can play here, and black still can't play here. So black will have to play here. And now, you know, white can play something like this. And, you know, this ladder obviously doesn't work. And, you know, white is just very powerful here. These stones aren't going to be able to stop white, I don't think. This would die. This would die. This would still die, right? Like this always dies.
Okay.
So when you play too close to thickness, you can usually get counterattacked. And that's something that, you know, most double-digit Q players, they just you connect at the peep. But before you connect at any peeps, you should always, always, always look for a counter attack before you just submit. But okay, I mean, that's the end of the questions I got. I'm really glad, no, I don't want anybody to be upset when I say this, but I'm really glad that most of you guys failed the questions, because you guys have very similar thinking at your level. And by getting the questions wrong, we can break that way of thinking, right? And we can show you a different way on how to look at the game.
So obviously our direction of play needs work. Maybe we need more of this.
Yeah, for sure. So
I really
yeah,
like this.
okay, I'll keep trying to help this. I was thinking this week of doing the kick and jump to teach you guys, about, more of the kicking, right? Like, when somebody approaches, you kick them. So if you guys want a lecture like that, I can do that next week. Or if you like these problem sets of like all the games I review, then I can keep doing this too. I mean, what write, feel free to write in the chat here, like if you want to vote, so that not everybody's talking over each other. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind doing what you guys want me to do, right? That's why I'm here, to help you guys out. So I'll try and end the recording.